Hello everyone, this is my first episode of video for YouTube, and I'm going to talk about who I am, what the channel is about, what will be there in the following programs. So the first question is, what inspired to become a doctor? So this became a family tradition. My great-grandfather was a physician. His first son was a physician. He joined the Nationalist Army as a military doctor. Then, of course, with the Civil War, he later down the road converted to the People's Republic of China. His second son, as my grandpa, received his education when Japanese invaded China. It was the Manchuria state. He received education in Japanese and he became a physician. Later down the road, he stayed in northeast part and lab medicine for all his career. And then it came to my father, who was a medical oncologist in China. Later down the road, he came to the United States and did cancer research in top institutions. And when I was born, I think the family tradition was that you got to become a physician. So all the books in my home are predominantly medical books. So I remember when I was a kid, when I was 6, 7, 8 years old, I was reading the medical textbooks. Of course, later down the road, I want to become a trader or entering the financial business, which didn't work out because the road was pretty much paved to enter medical school, to do my PhD and become a physician. So that's where I am, my oncologist. The early exposure was my father. He is a medical oncologist. And later down the road, my neighbor in my graduate school, he was studying nuclear medicine and radioisotopes. So he exposed me to radiation oncology. I think that's a fairly good fit because I'm more interested in anatomy, physics, and graphics. If you let me choose for standing there doing internal medicine rounds for 2-3 hours versus go on the OR or do some procedures, naturally I became a radiation oncologist instead of a medical oncologist. I think radiation is closer to surgery and procedures, and that needs some painting skills. You gotta understand the human body, you gotta understand the radiation, the physics, and how to understand the medicine. So here I am. After many years of study, I became board certified in radiation oncology in the United States. That's the American Board of Radiology. Also, I got a PhD in pharmacology, and I got acupuncture training in the United States. I'm licensed in New York State to practice medicine and acupuncture. The interest began at really early after I finished my residency. At the time, I was trying to get acupuncture training, so that started that part. Later down the road, it got all finished. When I got married, my wife got a herniated disc. At the time, 2 of my friends recommended surgery at orthopedic surgeons. She refused, and she used holistic methods, including chiropractors. So you adjust the bones and acupuncture, cupping. She didn't do much herbs, but she did intense. That's scraping and cupping, needling, and massage. So basically, there are 5 fundamental ways of treating a patient. The middle of the earth is manuring, so massaging. On the north is in the south, that's acupuncture, and west is medicine, and the east is scraping. So she didn't use herbs, but she pretty much used everything, and then that changed her status. She's fully functional, and now she can hold the baby. I got really interested in that, and including myself, I got the same treatments as well. So that helped my hair loss and slowing down some of the aging process, which really helped because we sit a lot. As physicians, we sit and read, didn't mobilize a lot, so we have lots of impaired actually the qi and blood and energy flow in our bodies. So that made me really interested in seeing the results. Will there be moments in my medical career that shifted how you view healing? Yes, that's correct. I think in the first 10 years after residency, it's all about treatment. Because in Western modern medicine, we're just trained to do things, to intervene, to cure disease, and to treat. However, human body is a live organ. It has several layers. So basically, the human being has body, energy, and mind. The body part is what we study the most for the Western anatomy, cell biology, chemistry, right? So you can measure all the things very easily. However, for the energy part, you cannot feel it, such as when you have the ATP or in the mitochondria. When that thing converted, you have the energy currency convert energy. Light is energy. Radiation therapy we use is a form of energy. You cannot see it, you cannot touch it, but there's effect you can measure. So in ancient China, in the traditional Chinese medicine, we believe it is a kind of energy, and it's just like invisible and running its own way, that the traditional Chinese has a really good view about it, but in the recent days it's really hard because you cannot see it. The harder it is, the harder to see, the harder it is for human beings to explore. And then there's mind, because we think. So for example, if you put the same computer, there's software, right? For many years ago, even they give the same computer, operating system has been updated. These days computers can do way more things. If you put different software in the computer, the things you can do even for the given hardware is different. For human beings, I think the mind, I can use the analogy as the software. We are all basically the same. We weigh almost the same. We are in a certain range of height and weight. We look almost the same, right? We look closer to human beings than the other species, but the intellectual level and the way of thinking are totally different. So the mind is different, and we have emotions. So all the layers together, actually, they combine together and form a human body, a human being, not only as a dead human body, but the whole picture. So this part is, after 10 years after my residency training, I'm more and more into the healing part, because we are more responsible for treatment, billing the insurance company, getting the drugs, surgery. We are not that as much focused on the healing part, which include lifestyle changes. There are methods, but lots of them are not really covered by insurance. The method or tools we have are very limited in the Western medicine world. We have physical therapy, yes, some chemicals, but the herbs are abundant. As you can know, we still have the human nature or tendency. There's a really big market for supplemental or alternative medicine. That's the human nature, just like animals. When they got poisoned, they're going to eat certain plants, and they're going to know how to rescue themselves. That's how it works. So we still have some common sense, and we can get it there. In your experience, what does medicine often miss that TCM addresses? That part is missing is more about the energy and mind part. The modern Western medicine is very good in changing the material form, the body, the matter. So the things you can see, the muscle, the tendon, the bone, the tumor, whatever, you can see it. Traditional Chinese medicine is working more on the energy and mind part, on these two aspects. So it's really hard to measure. And also, put that way, the Western medicine is better for changing things, for treating disease, but to restore the health and how to use the human body properly. So if we want to deal with the state before actually disease, Chinese medicine has better too, because that can fix lots of the software issues before they become hardware issues. And the traditional Chinese medicine see human being as part of the micro universe, as a human being as a small universe. For example, there's 24 different jieqi. That means the energy changing points in a given day. In the winter, it's totally different. You're supposed to eat and behave different when you're in summer. Just like when the nature changes, the Chinese traditional medicine sees what we call means the heaven and earth together as one body. So there's a circle of energy and information and ways of living in between human being, environment, and the planets, even way beyond that later down the road. It's more comprehensive, global, and it's I think it's a better way to deal with human body. Is that these two are fighting each other? Yes and no, because if you have an open mind, you can definitely combine these two. So for the things Western medicine really good, you use that, and for the things they're short, they're not to develop, you can use Chinese traditional medicine, but you have to know both. So what are the pros and cons for each tools? How do you ensure scientific rigor while using traditional practices? Number one, it has to be practiced, because everybody can talk about theory. It's really hard for you to see who's good and who's bad in Chinese medicine, because it's really hard to measure energy. You cannot see it. So if people say bogus or fake theory, it's really hard to prove they're wrong. So you really have to do by clinical effects. And if that really makes common sense, what does Elon Musk say about the first principle to the fundamentals? For example, if the meridian is running in this direction and you're trying to enhance or tonify, you cannot run the other way around. You have to go with the flow. So these are the common sense. You have to see it, and you have to see the data. Even if you do randomized clinical trial, even for single-armed clinical studies, you have to make sure whatever that guy says, he can do it. It's just the same thing. When I'm doing this YouTube video, I'm trying to at least tell you the things I did or the things the other people did, because just simply knowing is just knowledge, but by doing, that's wisdom. If you just trying to learn swim by reading swimming books, it's never going to work. You really have to go there, do that, come back to the theory, and there's going to be a spiral way of learning. You learn by doing, and then you learn by the theory, then the doing complements the theory. Unless you do it, it's never going to be part of you. because as human beings, we learn from seeing, working, listening, full body as a tool. If you just visualize on the textbook, that's only probably 40%. I'm trying to give you the things people did in real life. That's to ensure the scientific rigor. When you say scientific, traditional Chinese medicine has been there for 2,000 years. That's clinical trials for a long time without the insurance payer. So people has to pay it out of pocket. If that doesn't work, that's going to be eliminated. So it's still there, means something itself. What challenges do you face when presenting TCM in international clinical settings? People know very few things about it because we're in a heavily engineered, industrialized, and technical savvy world. We are way beyond the traditional way of living. So for example, when we do the YouTube, I just need to buy the camera and plug it in. If I want to cook something, I just press the button, the fire will be there. But in the ancient times, you have to go there, you have to chop your own wood, you have to get your own water. Your body is working with the environment, and it takes more energy and efforts, and human bodies do things. These days, more and more things are less dependent on human beings. When there's AI, you're less likely to use your own brain. All the things are getting together in the part that people are shining away from the energy and the mind thing, and more focus on the materialistic part. So that's a challenge. You don't have the background. These days, the painting is not painting in Italy, where at the time when we talk about painting, everybody thinks the way of Michelangelo or Da Vinci. That's the classical painting. These days, there are so many things to choose from. So it's more about the notions of human's mind. This TCM thing is really hard unless you try it yourself or you believe. And then you start to find things to back up your beliefs. As a Western medicine doctor in training in the beginning, I don't disagree, but I'm not 100% supporter. Only after I did it myself, I learned acupuncture, I got it thing on myself, I see my own health improvement benefits. Sure. And I think all the things make sense, and I started to study more and more. But that takes a fundamental change. But again, it's a thing that you really got to try on the right timing with the right physicians. How do you navigate skepticism from either side, Western or Eastern? There's always going to be skepticism. Even if you're right or that thing works, you cannot get 100% people agree on you. This is happening on the public. Even if you try to publish in the journal, sometimes the people in the editing board will not agree with you. Later down the road, they may. Just give you one example. One important discovery in oncology called SBRT, stereotactic body therapy. That thing changed the outcome for lung cancer greatly, from traditionally 60 to 70% of local control to about more than 90%. In the beginning, it's not even appreciated in the radiation oncology world. The first SBRT paper was published in thoracic oncology. It's not even the radiation oncology journal. There's always going to be skepticism, but I think fundamentally, if that's good, that works, that's good for human body, and that's less traumatic on human body, that's good to the environment, it's good for all the parties. I think people are going to realize, because it's just like the car Tesla. Is that 100% good? Probably not. But is that a really good auto-driving car? Yes. And replace lots of the tedious driving work, so people are going to understand and appreciate it. I think let action speak, because it's really hard to convert people who don't believe. It's just going to be an environment when more and more people benefit, people can find the right things for themselves without being pushed or being brainwashed. That's where things go. Oncology is a very interesting phenomenon. Oncology in the Western world, we used to think a tumor is just a mass, but nowadays we are finding a tumor is never homogeneous. Even to put in the needle doing a biopsy, there's only the sampling of a big ball of tissue. There are, as we know, the original structure, vascular structure, cancer cells, stem cells, hypoxic core, the tumor microenvironment, which has fibroblast cells, macrophages, neutrophils. It's a really complex dynamic, just like a city, put it that way. You have the bad guys living there. That's my theory of the Sancai. The Chinese way of seeing things. The heaven is the Tian, the Di is the earth, Ren is human being, Ren is in between. The way I see it is cancer is just like a human body, a different kind of human. The Di means earth is the organ, because cancer needs a place to grow. The Tian, which we see as the heaven or the universe, that's where the human body is, because in the microscopic level, human beings, even in the brain, the way the neurons are arranged together and the distance in between, and also the what we call the dark matters, the composition is very, very similar to a galaxy. The human brain, structure-wise, and the way it was assembled is very close to the astrology models in the universe. And what about the whole human body? If you amplify the human body, that's probably even bigger. If you think about it, in the brain, majority of them you cannot see. In the universe, about even around 70%-ish of the things you cannot see called the dark matter. But they dominate the universe. They have their ways we don't understand. So when I see a tumor, I see it more like a human being in the system, in the human body. And the behavior is very, very different. Some tumors behave very slow, some tumors very, very aggressive. And in Chinese medicine, it was seen as the yin shi, means the predominant matter. Because when we say the yin shi means the yang is not there. The yang in Chinese medicine, the yang means, uplifting, pure, really light, just like sunlight, and give your energy goes up. The yin just goes down and just like try to accumulate like the earth. When you don't have positive energy to expel all this garbage there, or to put it that way, your immune system doesn't work, clean the cancer cells, they became a lump, they start to have a colony, they start to feel it, they're really negative compared to the positive part. They don't do positive things. That's what the yin shi means in Chinese. There's accumulated dark energy and dark matter in that area. That means that that's a cancer, it's a tumor. Oncology, there are several predominant ways of treating them. There's chemotherapy, radiation therapy, surgery, immunotherapy. Of course, there's different ways like radiation, and there's more and more stuff, but predominantly there's three things or two things. Local therapy, that's either surgery, radiation, radiofrequency, cryoablation, or systemic therapy, that's chemotherapy or immunotherapy. One acts on the local with physical means, the other one works on the body, one with the chemical level, the other one is still, we will call it, even this immunotherapy sometimes is just opening up all those immune cells to work with chemistry, physics and chemistry, local and systemic. This is a huge market because one of the killers of human beings is cancer, and cancer is sometimes easy to cure, sometimes it's not. It's a very complex topic. In the United States, I think the incidence is about 400 to 500 per 100,000 population per year. So if you accumulate, there's a good chance that somebody will get cancer in their lifetime. And later down the road, cancer, to my opinion and to some research, is another form of aging, because when you're young, less likely to have cancer because your immune cells is fresh, your body is uplifting, growing uphill, so it's less likely. When your body started to age, genetic mutations, your immune system doesn't work, that started to have more and more instances of cancer. So cancer itself may be a byproduct of aging, and for the people who age faster, their cancer outcome is worse. So there's scientific evidence behind it, and we can talk about that. Last but not least, I have started an institute called Azure Research Institute this year, AZURE. The institute has several missions. The first mission was to advance radiation therapy in oncology world. The second one is to improve oncology care, including healing and not only treatment but healing. And number three, down the road, will be the Asian remedies like herbs, acupuncture for aging. So all the things are there, and I can go into more details, but that's one important part, to do more researches to combine what is the best that we know from Western modern medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, AI, and Asian wisdom. And this is a great platform to use the internet, the media, and to convey the messages so everybody can learn at your own and probably can benefit everybody in a really decentralized fashion. That's pretty much it for the first one. Thank you for watching.